All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Coffee Q&A. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, right here at 10 a.m. Eastern Time or 8 a.m. Mountain Time. How you all doing? Welcome back to the show. Hope you're all doing well. I'm Jay, your host, as always, here on the OnoCoffee channel. And today is Thursday, August 8th, and we've got something a little bit more simple kind of a drink here for you guys today. It's a drink that we made at Spro for quite a number of years. It was kind of one of those off-menu kind of items that if somebody came in, they're like, "Hey, do you make this?" Like, "Oh, absolutely, we can make this for you." Something I guess you can call a Coca-Cola Americano, or I don't know, Espresso Coke or Coke Espresso. I don't know. We never really truly thought up a name for it. But the idea is that you have Coca-Cola and you have coffee, in this case, espresso, and we would mix those two together. And I think that when you have the flavors of Coca-Cola and you've got a nice, like well-rounded espresso, I think that can go really, really well and be really delicious. So we're going to go into that today. And actually, this is kind of prompted because Rusty sent me a message the other day, and he's like, "What do you think about this? Do you think it would work with Diet Coke?" He sent me a link to a video that had someone making this in Thailand, where someone's making this Coke. But I was looking at the can. I was looking at the video the other day, and I was like looking really closely, and it looks to me like a Coke Zero can. It's got the red can, but with the black writing instead of the white writing. But it's all in Thai, and I was like, I didn't know. I can't read Thai, so what am I going to do? But to me, it looks like the labeling that would be of Coke Zero rather than Coca-Cola. But so here's the interesting thing. So outside of the United States, for the most part, Coke Light or Coke Zero has, so not Coke Light, Coke Zero. Coke Zero has replaced Diet Coke. And in the United States, we call it Diet Coke. In most of the world that has it, other nations that have it, like, let's say like down in Mexico and Central America, at least when they had it, they would call it Coca Light. So it'd be Coca Light or Coke Light or Diet Coke in America. And then, but now all I see mostly around the world is Coke Zero. I think even like when I was in Southeast Asia last year, I don't even know if they have Coke Light there anymore. I think it's all Coke Zeros. I don't know. Mom, good morning to you. Keone, aloha to you as well. I don't know, Keone, do you ever notice, do they still sell Coca Light or Diet Coke in Thailand at the place? Oh, my goodness. I forgot to adjust this camera. Hang on a second. There we go. All right, so we've got our Diet Coke. This is a little tiny can of Diet Coke that I put in the fridge overnight. Little 7.5 milliliter can, little cute can. We like these little cans once in a while. I don't normally buy these because, you know what, I think the value is not so good because, you're paying all this money for 7.5 milliliters, and as you can see, it's been sitting around the house for quite a while. I normally buy Coca-Cola. I do normally buy Diet Coke. Oh, Keone says that Diet Coke Light is still there in Thailand. Okay. And I'm cleaning the wrong end of it. Like, this has just been sitting on the pantry for probably a good year, and so now it's got all this buildup on the inside of the rim. So before we start to actually use it, let me just clear it out here. When I do buy my own Diet Coke, I'm usually waiting at the grocery store until they get these specials. So pretty much at Costco, you can buy Diet Coke in 35 can flats, and they sell them for, let's say, like $15 or something like that. So I will wait until the price of the cans at the store will drop to right around that level. Like, typically it's like buy one, get two, or buy one, get one, or something like that. And then I'll calculate it, and if it works, then I'll go back get it. So I don't think I've ever used Diet Coke to make it, and I'm going to expect some differences in the way that it will fizzle, because of course Coca-Cola uses high fructose corn syrup, and depending where you go, like normally if we were at Spro, do I have one here? I do have one somewhere here. At least I thought I did. Ah, yes. So at Spro, we didn't sell Diet Coke at Spro, and so all we had was what we call Mexican Coke, right? And this is Coca-Cola that's produced and bottled in Mexico, and it typically has this ingredient, cane sugar. Whoops, here it is. Cane sugar instead of HFCS, or what we know as high fructose corn syrup. I don't know what the labeling is in other countries, but at least the Coca-Cola from Mexico, and over the years, I think Coca-Cola Mexico has started to bottle using percentages of HFCS. It's such an interesting thing because there's so many additives and products that are allowed in the United States into the food chain that's not allowed in other nations, and so sometimes it's just better quality. I mean, a great example of that is Japan, right? Japan has, like, a lot of people in America, a lot of tourists love to talk about, I'm going to go to 7-Eleven Japan. I don't go to 7-Eleven in Japan. I go 7-Eleven, Lawson's, Family Mart. I'll go there fairly regular. There's typically one right by your hotel. So I might stop by and get a Coca-Cola or like a Coke Light or whatever it is, but I'm not really, like, they talk about, let's go eat there. But, I want to eat at 7-Eleven Japan as much as I want to eat at 7-Eleven America. Like, there's so much other stuff to try. And, like, I only will resort to, like, the egg sando or at the 7-Eleven or at the konbini if I absolutely must, right? The mini mart, I'm not going to, if I'm in Middle, I'm not going to mini mart unless I really absolutely have to. Anyway, Peter, good morning to you. How are things in Australia? So we're going to get into it. We're not going to make this one. This has not been chilled. I have not chilled that. This is chilled. Plus, these are now expensive. These are like $2.50 each now in America. It's terrible. All right, so how we're going to make this, we're going to take our espresso, which is our Espresso 99, which is our basic house espresso. Lots of nice body, low-end notes, chocolate, cacao notes, a little bit of fruit from a little bit of natural. We like to put in there a little bit of a berryness going on. We like to have that. Empty Head's with us. What's going on, Empty Head? I went to a coffee place in Japan. They offered, instead of granulated sugar, a gum syrup. A gum syrup, liquefied type sugar was my right on. Do you recall where you went that had this gum sugar? Gum syrup. Yeah, a lot of times you go to different coffee spots and they'll offer you that, some kind of liquid syrup. Some places will offer you more coarse crystal sugars, or even more of the turbinado or demerara style sugars, right? And like, there's demerara, there's turbinado, there's muscovado types of sugars. And really what those are, on a general sense, is that their degree. So when you produce sugar, you harvest the cane, you crush the cane, you extract the cane juice from the cane, and then you refine that. The amount of refination that you do of the sugarcane juice will determine how white it becomes. So in the cases of turbinado, demerara, muscovado, I think in that order. And then ultimately what they do for the piloncillos of, like, Latin America, in Mexico, Colombia, things like that, where they put them in those little pylons, those little pyramids that's hard and you kind of have to scrape it. Those are all I guess that should be on this end. Those are all degrees of refination, right? With the piloncillos being the most unrefined, and then muscovado, demerara, and then turbinado, which is the sugar in the raw that we're familiar with in America. And then you get to the white sugars, the fully clean and granulated sugars. So that's the natural molasses that they're pulling out of it, right? Now, brown sugar that we use for baking in America is actually refined sugar, fully refined sugar that has molasses added to it. And actually, here's something, if you work with brown sugar, but you don't work with a lot of it, what you could do, instead of, how you keep brown sugar in your cupboard, and then you get it out, and it's this hard mass of, like, because it's just basically become this solid thing. It's really difficult to work with. What you could do is you could keep molasses at home. Better get the real molasses, not the bootstrap molasses. But either one will work. And you just take a little bit of that when you need to have brown sugar for your recipes. just take your refined sugar, mix in a little bit of molasses, and it's essentially the same thing. And then you can add as much or as little as you want to suit your needs. Keone says, interestingly, I've noticed that there is much more sugarcane being planted here in Thailand. There's a really large refinery that is being built around. Oh, it's good to see. It's good to see that they're still building sugar refineries. And America, we've got. America has surpassed sugar production in the fact that we're not willing to pay for it. All right, so let's get to it. We're going to use our Espresso 99. I've already got some loaded into the hopper, and we're going to be using our lovely, La Valentina E61 group head. Sorry, I only have one angle today. Mount Koya. Oh, I wonder where was that? I wonder. All right. So as you're familiar with, you may be familiar with before, E61 group head, standard La Marzocco 58 millimeter, portafilter. This is the more modern one with the what do you call this? The leveler, so that you don't have to wobble as you're tamping on a counter, and then removable spouts if you want to. All stainless steel instead of chrome plated brass. So as always, just make sure you clean up your what do you call this? The basket. We're using a VST basket, and our intention is to do 21 grams of coffee. Oh, a little bit more. It's been a long time. We haven't made espresso on the show since May. Just distribute around a little bit. Knock a little bit off there. All right, so now we're just going to put it down. Get our tamper. Let's see how it turns out first. Are we at the right grind setting, or are we at the right setting at all? This is one of the problems with these tabletop ones. They don't have as much mass as the commercial machine, so I tend to be a little bit more forceful with it. Oh yeah, that looks terrible. Terrible. What we need to do is I think we need to go to fresher coffee. Fresher coffee. Let us clean this out. Honestly, this is the coffee that's been sitting there since our shows in May. So that was an enlightening experience. Still probably good for using in brewed coffee. Like if you just want to make some brewed coffee for friends. This has been exposed to air for a long time, so definitely not ideal for espresso. I mean, just look at this. Look at this shot. Look at this. This is just terrible. Terrible. How does it even taste? Orange peel, bright. I mean, there's a decent amount of body, but it's just not that oomph that we want, right? Someday this is going to stop. Let's go over here. Whoops. Turns out I left the door a little bit open. That's why I kept grinding. Okay, now we've got that out. I'm going to take this and put this into this container. Now, a lot of this is just due to overexposure to the air, right? It's just it's just been sitting here. I haven't really done anything about it, which should give you an indication of how much I actually drink in my normal life. All right, so fresh espresso 99. Not bad, not bad. Empty Head says our tour group was visiting the largest cemetery in Japan. Oh, interesting. I wonder where that is. Is Mount Koya a place, or is that I'm not familiar with it. So is that a place, or is that the name of the coffee shop? And Peter says, sometimes I use palm sugar for coffee and masala tea. Oh, that coffee tea combination, that's very like Chinese, isn't it? It's like, I see that in like the kopitiams. I forgot what they don't call it, coffee tea or coffee tea. Is that right? Coffee tea. The tea with, and I know you're saying masala chai, so I'm presuming when you say masala, you're meaning the Indian style chai, where it's going to be more spicy and much more. That could be quite interesting, I think. Okay. Let's try this again. So, if we look at the coffee bed here, right? The coffee bed, maybe I should zoom in some. Can I zoom in with this thing? Let me see. How do I zoom in? Yeah, that's better. Okay, so the coffee bed looks pretty good. So I think we have the right amount of a product. And look at the cleanliness of the basket. So that's actually really well. The shot itself was pulled expertly. It's just that, well, there's no coffee. So, or the coffee's just too old and bruised. All right, hopefully this will be better. Okay, there we go. That's a little bit better. Can you see that? I feel like there's a lot of lag if I look at the monitor. Just wipe off the sides here. All right, next shot. It took a little while to come out, but it's looking okay. Looking okay. Oh yeah, it's a little bit better. Let us stop now. I think it went a little bit long. I'll show you that here. Wow, it really is slow. Okay, so as you can see here, see this little streak? Can I zoom in a little bit more? As you can see, there's a streak down the center here. I think that's just a light indication that there is some kind of slight over-extraction happening. Oh, brighter notes. Clean finish. A little bit different than I was expecting. All right, let's have a look at our puck here. So, yeah, this you can see here. There's nice compaction of everything of the coffee bed. Everything looks dry. Knock it out and clean. Wow, this computer showed me heavy duty lag. I'm hoping that the synchronization of my mouth to the words is actually together. Let me know if it's not. I don't know how to change that though, but at least we'll know. At least we'll know, and knowing is half the battle. Okay, so now we got our espresso ready. What I like to do instead of, I prefer to, when making espresso drinks, I prefer that we're able to pull the shot directly on top or directly into the vessel, right? Like If we're going to make espresso, I want to pull the espresso directly into the cup that we're serving. If we're making lattes, same thing. Americano, same thing. We always want to put it all together so that we don't. So, because if you see here, you can see on the side. Oh, goodness. You can see right here, some of the crema is just kind of rolling up the side of the cup, right? Even though I'm pulling it away. So you're going to leave some of those things behind if you put it into some other vessel to transfer it. And actually, this has a very strong, like, orangey note to it today. Interesting. But as you can see from the puck or the basket, it's fairly clean. There is a little couple drops of oils here that are indicative that we're right on the edge of going into over extraction, but we did not move into over extraction, which is great. We don't really want them to do that. So in this case, what we want to do is we want to take our glass. I'm going to take this glass. This is the typical Riedel water glass that we normally use here on the show. And we're going to get some ice. Oh, Peter says that with the masala tea and coffee, a little bit of pinch of salt. Oh, I like that. I like that idea. I like that. And then Empty Head says it looks like a grain silo. Looks like a grain silo of what? Wait, which one? The grinder? It's the name of the place. Moncoya is the name of the place. I don't remember the name of the shop. Oh, understood. I have not heard about Moncoya. I will look that up when I have a moment later. So let's get some ice. I've got some crescent cubed ice from a Hoshizaki machine that I put in this corksicle thing, which is great because it's good insulation, but maybe it's a little bit too much insulation. So we've got our ice. I like to prepare everything first, and then we'll add the Coke to the ice. In this case, diet. Now I'm wondering, because of the Diet Coke, the difference, this type of different, what do you call it? Sugar. I have the feeling that it will react a different way. Like we'll get a lot more fizziness, a little more buzziness, I think. But I don't know. Let's give it a try. We're gonna go here. So I pulled a couple shots just to see where we are in the spectrum, and hopefully we're relatively good and quote unquote dialed in. As you notice, I haven't changed any of the settings on the grinder. Like, this grinder is set to the same position that it was set the last time we used it in May. All right, now we got that. I'm going to take this off because I want to fit this underneath it. Oh yeah, it'll fit good. So we're going to put this in, lock it, brew, drop our glass in, and let her run. I'm sorry I don't have a better angle for you guys. Oh yeah, look at that. I like to see it spread out, right? Like an Americano, I want to have a layer of, of the crema on top. Now we're definitely getting a lot of reaction here at the bottom. I think we're done now. Look at that. Ooh. Very, very fizzy, dizzy. Much more fizziness is happening because of the reaction between the Diet Coke and the and the espresso. Now, really thick crema. Like, this crema is, gosh, it's really thick. Like, it is that thick. From the point to here, it's that thick. That's kind of crazy, right? Kind of crazy. And so this is one of the things that I remember from you making this in the past. With the regular Coke, you don't get this much head. But with Diet Coke, all right, well, so it's got that kind of fizzy, citrusy nose to it. That would be, there's actually a lot of citrus in a Coca-Cola as far as flavor notes. It's not terribly sweet. Like the sweetness feels almost neutralized. Like yeah, it's not sweet at all. The espresso has reacted with what is the chemical sweetener in this? With the aspartame, neutralized it. Oops. I I don't know if I like it. Like I don't know if that's pleasurable. Like you think about Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola. One of the pleasures of Coca-Cola is the sweetness. Is that sweetness? Even in Diet Coke, it's a very pleasurable sweetness. Let's see. That, that doesn't taste sweet at all. And now I don't know if it's because I've tasted this, and now my palate has been totally altered. But that's